Extract of the Enigmas of Amy Wang, written and read by Pohani. Chapter 1. I am the temple. Though my past is etched upon me still, I can only glimpse it from a distance. I was a gateway to the gods. Once I was a vessel for their hopes and prayers. I saw dawn break on the mighty Nile each morning for almost 2,000 years. Once they came to worship Isis, part of a pilgrimage to the Dodecashanus, the personal estate of the goddess herself. Her wooden effigy descended my steps for the festivals, the embodiment of grace. Once they followed the cult of Padesi and Pahor to my doorstep. Drowned in the mighty river below, they deified the brothers, worshipped them within my inner sanctuary, buried in the rock face behind. Believe me, the irony is not lost on me. Some of my brethren now lay violently submerged for all time. I was saved. Once erected by Caesar Augustus, here I am resurrected, reborn from my bones, shipped across an ocean. I have new power here. Now the day breaks over the trees. Even the trees predate me. For 50 years, I see the seasons. I see the sunrise weakly or strongly as the months dictate. I have more worshippers than I could have ever dreamed of. They come to pay homage. Now the heads of Osiris and Isis guard me. Does that make me divine? It's an interesting puzzle and one that I spend many moons debating. Severed from the tomb of the brothers, wooden gods, long lost to time, to theft, I am no longer a quotidian temple. I am something distinct yet undefined. I am the temple. I protect secrets, old and new. Chapter 2. Amy bound up the stairs to the Metropolitan Museum of Art like a puppy. With all the money the banks had donated to the museums, entry for employees was free, though few took advantage of it. True, it was fraud to still use her corporate access long after quitting last year, but still. Pulling the heavy glass door open, Amy repeated the justification she often gave herself. That the amorphous they owed it to her for all the visits she'd never made while an employee, given the 110-hour weeks, the missed vacation. Again, she promised herself that today was the day to sign up for a one-year membership, like those old ladies with their chunky necklaces and big dark glasses. True, the museum needed her money, but she was running out of it much sooner than expected. Amy fingered her old work ID in her pocket. Museum staff were never careful about checking credentials. The ID card and her old business card were usually enough. But every time she felt like an imposter, so she made herself dress the part. Pantsuit, tight ponytail, conservative heels, just to make the cover more believable, in case she was ever asked. Also true, one could legitimately wonder at a banker allowed in daylight hours every week for hours. When it was her turn, the guard looked down at the two cards presented, then up at Amy's face and monotoned, "Have a nice visit," as he handed her a metal button with a curlicue M to attach to her clothes. She sat in front of her favorites, visiting each one in turn and paying them homage. The giant Pollock, Bernini's Satyr and the Children, Paul Manship's group of bears, Tiffany's work in mosaic, and saving the best for last, the Temple of Dender. The sheer size of the exhibit usually made Amy feel like she had it all to herself, but today the Sackler wing was a hive of noise and activity. She blew the temple an imaginary kiss like an old friend and bowed her head for whatever blessings the gods were willing to bestow. She liked to view the exhibit from the angle where Meg Ryan stood in When Harry Met Sally. Amy replayed the scene in her mind, the hieroglyphs, a comic about Sphinxy, pecan pie, but today it was impossible to stand there, much less anywhere else. At every facade of the building, someone was erecting scaffolding or unraveling rolls of protective sheeting. She stopped in front of Osiris and Isis, the god of the dead, and his consort. In 6th grade, Amy had memorized the exact layout of the Temple of Dender. Today, everywhere she looked, important people in khaki overalls held clipboards and barked orders. Finally, she found a quiet spot near the rear of the edifice, by the stone crocodile in the moat. As far as the Egyptian temples went, this one was a baby. Didn't even have the right pedigree. It was built by the Romans after the conquest to appease the locals. Had it been important at all, the British might have tried to blow a great big hole in it, like the pyramid at Giza with the side missing. Still, to her, it was the crowning glory of the museum. Whenever she felt anxious about her life decisions, which was almost every day since she'd moved back home, just being in the gallery made her feel at peace, as if even though it didn't always feel that way, coming home had been the right decision. A stern woman in jeans and a Columbia sweatshirt strode towards her at high speed. Finally, we need to go through these plans your guys sent. Some of this stuff is just nigh on impossible. Also, your slides are full of inaccurate information. I'm sorry, Amy said, as the woman thrust a PowerPoint presentation into her hand. Take a look. That was the moment where Amy should have cleared up the misunderstanding, but she didn't. It was entirely due to the fact that somebody had asked her to review a slide pack. Holding it in her hands made her feel like it was the old days. Flicking through the graphics work was rudimentary at best. Had it been her analyst showing her this kind of work, she would have reamed a poor guy out. Thank you.